Oh, I don't even have all my jewellery on. Guys, being a new mum means taking off, if not all your jewellery. Babies don't like jewellery on their skin. Anyway, I went to put on makeup. I pretty much managed a little bit of mascara and filling in my brows slightly, and that's about it before I was like, nah. Today is Tuesday. The what, I don't know, but what I do know is it's been exactly 4 weeks since baby has been born. So, mashallah, alhamdulillah. By the way, I've been getting loads of comments of people saying, what the hell does it mean when Dina says mashallah, alhamdulillah? Which only tells me that there's an influx of new people watching my videos who potentially are not Muslim or maybe don't speak Arabic, are not familiar with these phrases. Basically, mashallah just means like the work of God, like you're kind of like praising the work. So basically, like if I see something nice, I say mashallah, kind of like to like not jinx it. I don't even know, bro. And alhamdulillah just means thank God, pretty much. So anyway, today's video is my labour and delivery story. The other day, right, I was driving and I just had a flashback to the labour and delivery, and then I thought, oh my God, I don't actually remember things as clearly as I did a week after. So I better film this ASAP before I fully forget, because the thing that happens with women when they give birth is they do tend to forget what it was like months after or years after. And that's half the time the reason we get pregnant again, because we forget how bloody horrific it was to give birth and how bloody horrific the newborn days are. We forget how hard it is, and that's why we get pregnant again. So anyway, that's that out the way. Right, I'm just gonna jump straight into it because it's probably gonna take me forever and I still need to cook some food today, okay? By the way, before I get into the video, can I just remind you guys that there is really not long left until my book, Modestly, is out. It's gonna be out September the 20th, inshallah, but it's available now for pre-order on Amazon with the link in the description. Also, if you guys haven't already seen, but I am featured in, okay, there's the book. Whee! I am featured in September's issue of Vogue, okay? And it's very exciting because Bad Gal is on the front, but also, and it's an exclusive look at what is in the book. Yes, how exciting. Make sure you check it out. I hope I didn't wake the baby up with that squeal. Anyway, right, rewind to 4 weeks ago. If you guys remember, my due date was the 10th of July. You already know I gave birth on the 11th of July. So baby's birthday is the 11th of July. And we missed the due date actually by 1 hour. So he was born on the 11th of July at 1:22 a.m. So if it was at like 12, it would have been the 10th of July. I would have got my due date. How mad and how close is that? I think that's amazing. It was a very, very hot week. And it was a very hot night in particular. What we'd been doing that week is sleeping downstairs in the living room because it's the coolest kind of place in the house. For some reason, upstairs is really humid here. But this night in particular, I decided to sleep in Hannah's room with Hannah because she was just extra whiny that night. It's like she knew it was her last night for full attention or something. But she was extra whiny that night and she wanted me with her. So I stayed with her in her room, plus her room is slightly cooler. So we had the windows wide open. I just slept on the floor and she's got like a floor bed anyway. So it basically just meant I was sleeping next to her. And I remember waking up at like 5 a.m. that day. Or it was like 3:30 even. And I was just browsing my phone, laying there thinking, why am I wide awake, man? I could be sleeping, like Hannah's asleep and I'm wide awake for no reason. But I remember thinking, oh, I've got really mild period-like pains. And then I thought to myself, oh, this could be the beginning of the labor, the very, very early stages, because up until then, I hadn't really got like any period-like pains, and I can really tell the difference between those period pains and Braxton Hicks contractions, because the Braxton Hicks ones, just like your stomach just gets really tight, but my stomach would just get really tight, but I never felt like the period pains. So anyway, I just thought to myself, let me time them out of interest. Let's see if this is consistent. And they were very, very mild, but they were every 15 to 20 minutes since 5 a.m. And I was just thinking, ooh, these are literally happening every 20 minutes. Then it got to 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. And they were still happening every 20 minutes. So I was like, okay, it's been hours now and they're still happening. They haven't got stronger, but they're happening. So I just thought in my head, today is the last day of being pregnant. I can feel the baby is coming today. And I said to Sid, It was just a regular work day, so Hannah went to nursery and all that, and I said to Sid, oh, I reckon it's gonna be today. We were in and out of the garage because he's moved his office in the garage, and I remember I was walking around the house naked because it was so hot and I was so pregnant and I was just done with life. I wasn't really getting any work done. I was just pacing the house at that point, just thinking in my head, I know it's gonna be today, and I was just thinking, I'll just wait it out until these contractions start like making a significant difference. Yeah, it was pretty much a chill day, getting through the heat, walking around the house naked, and I thought to myself as well, oh, I'm gonna eat everything I want in the kitchen today, because if this labor takes forever, and knowing my luck, it will be late at night when I haven't slept, and I already haven't slept the night before, because remember I woke up at like 4 or 5 a.m, then I'm gonna eat loads of food because I know I'm gonna need that energy later. And I was bloody right, I tell you. So anyway, gradually the day just carried on. Hassan, my brother, was popping in and out because he does that now. I remember we got a knock on the door and it was Hassan, and I was in the garage pretty much naked because it was so hot, and Sid let Hassan in, and then he remembered, oh, he was like, oh no, hold on a minute, Dina, Hassan's here. And I was like, oh, Hassan, don't walk any further into the house. He was like, what, bruv, what, calm down, bruv. So anyway, I quickly put on clothes, chilled with Hassan for a bit. By the time Hassan got here, I remember he was just chilling out. Basically, whenever Hassan comes over, he just comes over to eat food. He just comes over to eat our food and like lay on the sofa while he's on break from work or something like that. So he was doing all that and annoying me, and I was like, yo, I'm in labor here, Hassan, and you're just like lounging about making a mess in the house, like seriously. But I was just saying it as a joke because I wasn't actually 100% sure that I was in labor, right? So I was just like joking with him, and he was like, oh, you're in labor, is it? Oh, okay, bro. So anyway, then Hassan went. I think he popped in a few times because he's like close by, and then I think it was around 4, 5, and I was saying to Sid, can you remember any of this? Am I recalling it correctly? So anyway, I think around 4:35 I was saying to Sid, yo, you gotta go pick up Hannah soon. And then I was also, and I said to him, by the way, I'm definitely giving birth at some point today because the contractions are still at 15 minutes apart, but they're definitely stronger. But they weren't unbearable. It was literally like having a bad period pain coming every 15 minutes. So I was not in pain at all, but I was just like, something's gonna happen. So I said to him, you need to pick up Hannah, and we need to think about whether or not I'm gonna tell Mama to come down after work or what, because something's gonna happen, right? I think around 6 o'clock, my mum had a horse riding lesson that night at 6 o'clock next to our house. So I said to her, Mama, I think you should come over after horse riding. She was like, oh, okay then. So Mama was chilling here with us, 6:30. Hannah was back from nursery. We were all playing, messing about, and I was like, you're definitely getting stronger. And by the time 8 o'clock came round, I was like, okay, they're quite strong now. Like, I think, if I recall, like I was thinking back to when I was pregnant with Hannah and the labor I had there, and I was like, oh, it feels like about the same pain that I had when I was in the hospital and they told me to stay in the hospital. So I thought to myself, okay, because I've got that same level of pain, let me get myself to the hospital at 8 o'clock. So my plan was to deliver in the midwife-led unit, not in the actual hospital. So they do things a bit differently there, basically. So anyway, 8 o'clock, me and Sid got our stuff, stuck it in the bag, and we went to, I think we actually put Hannah to bed. No, we didn't put Hannah to bed. We put Hannah to bed when we came back. Okay, so 8 o'clock we went to the midwife-led unit, and I was like, I'm getting contractions, blah blah blah. They were like, okay, sure, come in, you know, we'll check you, things like that. So I went in, but they weren't like, they looked in their faces like, this isn't it, darling. And I was saying to them, you know, like, I'm definitely like in labor, and they were like, okay, we'll check you, blah blah blah. But with the midwife-led unit, they don't like checking you unless it's super necessary. But I was kind of like in pain a little bit more. I was quite discomforted by that point. I was like, oh, hold on a minute, I can feel a contraction a minute. And they were like, yeah, it's only kind of like if you can't talk when you get a contraction and you're literally like, oh, bent over in pain. And I was like, in my head I was like, but this is painful, bro. This is definitely painful. But I could still chat and I could still walk. So the midwife said, okay, seeing as you are in pain, let me just check you then. So she like got her lovely fingers, did the business, and she was like, darling, You're not even 1 centimeter dilated. Go home and wait it out. I was like, what? I'm not even 1 centimeter? That's mad. How depressing. This could take forever. She was like, you could literally be having these pains. It could take a few days. Like, they might even stop. It could take a few days. I was like, what? Here's me thinking I'm so giving birth tonight. But then I went home and Mama was still here, obviously. And then, as it did with Hannah's labour, things progressed very, very quickly after that. We get home at 9 p.m. and Hannah's gone to bed. And then, pretty much as soon as I get home, I think I was pacing around the house because I was just anxious by that point. And then I kept going to the toilet. Yes, the pressure to go to the toilet was very, very, very immense by then. So I'd go to the toilet all the time, but my waters hadn't broken yet. And then eventually, I think around 10:30, 11ish maybe, I'd gone to the toilet again, obviously, and my water broke, but it wasn't like the big, like in movies, which didn't happen with Hannah either. With Hannah, it was just like in the toilet, like oh, that wasn't anything else, that was definitely my water. So the same thing happened this time in the toilet, little bit of water. I was like, oh, my water's broken, so that's a good sign, because the contractions obviously, they were getting stronger, and they were getting stronger, but not actually that much closer together. They were just getting stronger and longer, but they were still bearable at that point. So I was still eating and walking around and chatting to my mum. But then when I'd get the contraction, I'd be like, oh, you know. So my water broke, and then after my water broke, it went from 0 to 100 real quick. Well, not real quick, but basically for the next hour and a half. So from about 10:30 till 12, suddenly I was pacing around, and my mum was timing them, and I was like bent over on that kitchen counter, like really like struggling through the contractions and trying to wait it out for as long as possible so that I don't go to the hospital and get sent home again, because that's just annoying. I phoned the hospital, like the midwives, and I said, my water's broken, they are a lot stronger now and they're painful. And also when I was on the phone to the midwife, I got a contraction so she could hear me, and she was like, it's okay, get through your contraction before you start trying to talk to me. I was like, okay. When I called the midwives and told them my water broke, they were like, that was about 11, maybe 11:15. They were like, well, you need to come to the unit anyway, because if your waters are broken, we're gonna have to check you. I was like, okay, but is it likely that I'm gonna stay and give birth, or are you gonna send me home? They were like, we'll check you. If you're not 4 centimeters, then you will have to go home. So I said to her, okay, fine, I'm coming. But in my head, I was like, I'm gonna try and wait it out at home as long as possible so I do not get sent home. Because my big worry was that I get sent home, and knowing me and how I gave birth last time, things going 0 to 100 real quick, my worst nightmare was getting to that phase of needing to push in the car. I was like, I really don't want that to happen. So I was like, I'm gonna wait it out at home as long as possible, go to the hospital and hopefully stay there. I think me and Sid waited till midnight, and I was just having the contractions here, and I was, oh, at that point we sent Sid up. Oh, I think we sent Sid up to sleep around 10:30, 11 with Hannah, because I said, me and Mama said to him, listen, it's definitely happening tonight, you're gonna need some sleep, go up and sleep, mate, because obviously I couldn't sleep, I'm going through contractions. So I was like, go up and sleep. I think he'd gone up to sleep for about half an hour before we called him down again. And then I said to him, yo, we need to get to the hospital, let's get to the hospital. And that was about midnight. And when I got in the car, so basically before we got in the car, they were unbearable, the contractions were unbearable. I was like, there's no way they can get worse than this, no chance. But I wasn't getting the pushing feeling, so obviously they could get worse. Anyway, then we got in the car, and basically the car, so when we were in the house, I was compressing my yelling and screaming. I was compressing the pain so that I don't wake Hannah up, and obviously you don't want to be screaming in your house, it's a bit embarrassing. I mean, I found it a bit embarrassing. Also the neighbours, like, I don't know. Most people would be more comfortable at home, but I just wanted to get to the hospital to do all the crazy shit, because you know why? Because I really wanted the gas and air, because I remember with Hannah, that gas and air, ooh, that got me through, man. I was high as a kite, and if I don't get high when I'm giving birth, I can't give birth, you know what I mean? So anyway, in the car, I just remember it being the worst pain on the planet. It was bloody awful, and I think I had the window wide open because I was like, I can't deal with it. And I had the window wide open, and we were going fast on the motorway, and I was, what was I just screaming, Sid? On the motorway, on the way to the hospital, I was just screaming. Sid was going, it's okay, and he was rushing to get to the hospital, and I was like, Sid, I can't. And you know when you, I mean, if you guys have been pregnant before or whatever, you know it's very, very painful when you're going through labor to sit on your back. It's actually not the best idea to give birth on your back either. And when I gave birth to Hannah, it was actually on my back with my legs in like the stirrup things, I think, if I remember correctly. But I remember it was definitely on my back. And I just remember thinking, this is so painful because I can't actually sit down. It hurts when I sit, like I need to stand up something, but they had me like that because they gave me an episiotomy and all that. But for this one, in the car, I was sitting down and I couldn't sit down, so I was leaning my back on the car like that, so that my bum was lifted, so that there was no pressure on my actual bum and my back. So anyways, I was screaming at every contraction. I was like, this has to be it, Sid, like there's no, I don't remember feeling this pain with Hannah without having the gas and air, and I'm doing it now without gas and air, so like I need that gas and air, bro. So anyway, get to the hospital. I'm walking from the car into the hospital and I keep like keeling over and being like, oh, I can't walk anymore, I can't. Oh God, it was so painful. I really remember every moment. And I swear to God, I remember in the car saying to Sid, I'm gonna need to push any minute, Sid, I can feel it, I'm gonna need to push, mate. And he was panicking because he was like, don't have the baby in the car, Dina, please. So anyway, get to the hospital, get in the actual right place, finally. Thank God this hospital is dead quiet, there's no one there, alhamdulillah. Anyway, get to the hospital, and they're like, come on, they opened the door for me because like with the buzzer, and they're like, come on, Dina, just get in and we can check you. And I was having a contraction going, I can't walk. They were like, just a few steps, let's get you in the room. And I was like, what do I do? Should I take my trousers off? They were like, that'll be handy. I take my trousers off, I get on the bed, she checks me, and she's like, yo, 5 centimeters, honey. I was like, oh, so I don't have to go home? Yes. And then she was like, do you want gas and air? And I was like, yes, hell yeah, give me gas and air. So at this point, I'm lying on my back in the t-shirt that I was already wearing. And of course, me with the gas and air, if you watch my last labour and delivery video, apparently I'm quite funny with gas and air. And I just constantly crack jokes and say mad things and get very, very conversational. So I was doing all that, and Sid's just like dying of laughter, as usual. And this time, because it's a midwife-led unit, they like to encourage things naturally, and they don't like to intrude very much. Obviously, unless it's needed, then they'll just transfer you to hospital. But they like to let things progress naturally, and that's what they did. So anyway, when she saw me on my back and I was saying to her, this is so painful, she was like, get up off your back, girl. Get on all fours. You're in like the worst position. I was like, what? No, I don't do these things. I don't know how to do these. You know when you see these like births of like women on all fours and they're just like pushing the baby out. I was like, I can't do these things. Get me drugs and lie me down and just get it out, you know? A bit like with Hannah, right? But anyway, eventually, I did. I turned around on all fours, but I leant my arms up on the headrest of the bed. And when that happened, I was like, wow, this is so much more comfortable. It just felt, all of a sudden, like, it just felt right, and it felt really, really natural. To the point where, like, I got in that position, and after, like, 2 contractions, so the midwife was still like, okay, we're still early days, right? But after 2 contractions, I was saying to her, I need to push. Like, so I'm screaming into the gas and air thing going, I need to push. She looked at me like, surprised. Then she just went, do whatever feels right. If you feel like you need to push, then push. But because I'm really like I don't like people going, like even if it's doctors and midwives, I don't like them seeing me naked. I don't like people intruding. So I was saying to her, don't look down there, don't look. She was like, Dina, if you're gonna push, I'm gonna need to look. I was like, okay, fine, I need to push, so look. So she was looking, and then obviously she could see that, yes, I did need to push. So then she was kind of just going, okay, push, do it. And from that point on, so remember, we went to the hospital at 12, and I gave birth at 12 minutes past 1 a.m. So it took about an hour to push him out. But I remember just before starting the pushing, I said to her, I'm really worried about this ring of fire thing that people keep talking about. Because although I had a vaginal birth with Hannah, I didn't feel the ring of fire because she gave me an episiotomy, which meant she numbed that area before they cut it, and then Hannah came out. So I didn't feel the ring sting thing. I didn't feel that. So I was really worried about feeling that this time with him because well, it looks like I wasn't going to need an episiotomy because I'd already given birth. I just didn't need one. So that's the bit I was scared about, because I hadn't experienced that. Everything else I wasn't too scared about. I was just going through the pain thinking, this is way worse than before this pain. But obviously it wasn't, it was the same. But anyway, she goes to me then on like the fourth push, or maybe the fifth pushing attempt. She goes to me, Dina, you know that ring of fire that you're worried about? You're gonna feel that on the next push. I was like, what? Already? Okay, fine. And then by that point, I was just like, this is great, because that means he's coming soon and this will end. So although I was worried about the pain, I knew when I feel that pain, the extra ring of fire pain, it will be a good pain, because it's like a positive one, because it's like, it's the end, you know? So anyway, then I do the push and I do start feeling the ring of fire, but it's not what I expect. It's more like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, to be honest with you, I did this with Hannah as well. I said the same thing. It's like having the worst constipation ever, finally getting to poo and just thinking, this poo is never, ever, ever going to come out of my little bum hole. It's just impossible. But then it finally does. I was pushing and pushing, and I remember every time I'd push, I'd like really get low. And the midwife at one point was like, move your leg out from under your butt, out the way, to give him space, because his head was coming out. She was like, he needs space to actually get out, Dina. Because I was pretty much squatting like on the bed. So I just remember that pushing sensation and wanting to push, but then the ring of fire thing wasn't even what I thought. It wasn't even stingy. It was more like just stretchy. It was like a stretchy tingling. It's like a stretchy tingling sensation, yeah. Anyway, then I could feel his head come out, and they were like, oh wow, he's got loads of hair. And I was like, yeah, his dad's Asian, wait. And I could feel his head come halfway out. And then suddenly things went quiet, for me anyway. I was like, oh, there's no contractions. What am I doing? I'm just waiting here with half a head sticking out. And then I started panicking, because I was like, half his head sticking out, that must hurt. And how's he gonna breathe and all that stuff. They were like, just calm down, wait till the next contraction, then push. It seemed like forever for me, but I mean, Sid will probably tell you it was probably just like 30 seconds or something, I don't even know. But eventually I felt the next contraction and I did the push and his head came out. And then I could feel his head out, and I'm just like around his neck. Sorry if this is too graphic for all you people who don't like goriness. So anyway, and then I was like, oh, okay, so this doesn't hurt right now, the bit where he's just wedged in between the world and the womb. But then I did the next push, and then finally I could feel the shoulders come out. This guy's got broad shoulders, I tell you. Could feel the shoulders come out, which was more awkward feeling than the head actually. And then he did the thing where he flew out eventually, and it took me an hour basically to push him out, and he was out. And then I turned around and I sat down and I was like, oh, and so the first thing my first reaction I think was like, oh, sweetie pops, because I saw him all blood all over him. Oh my god, he came out with so much blood on him. No, he didn't. Did he come out with blood? Or was that Hannah? No, he did. He came out with loads of blood on him. Yes, he did. But I didn't lose that much blood. She said you only lost 50 mil of blood. Placenta came out. She showed it to me and I was like, that's gross. By the way, shout out to my midwife. Her name was Lisa and she was epic. She was, I literally had one midwife doing the whole thing and she was just sick. And then she was like, you'll need a few stitches. So she stitched me up there, and then that took like, I don't know, 10 minutes. It wasn't even anything. Anyway, and then they pretty much left us to it. And we were just chilling with the baby, me and Sid. I was looking at Sid's face, I was like, God, you look really tired, Sid. And anyway, then they left us to it. And then I pretty much got up straight away, had a shower. It was so different. This delivery was so different to Hannah's. Like, even how my body felt afterwards was so different to Hannah's. I felt like, look, Sid's gonna join us now to... Don't sit on the book and the mag.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, I felt so different. So anyway, I had a shower. And then I put on my pajamas thinking, okay, I'm going to stay in the hospital now, innit? Anyway, and then the midwife came in and she was like, yeah, we've got a lovely room for you. Come in and stay, this and that. And I was like, great. And then she was like, so bear in mind, it's like 3 AM now.
Yeah.
And then she was like, or you can just go home if you want. I was like, what? Go home? Am I just being discharged? Is that it? Like, I can just go home? They're like, yeah, you can go home, everything's fine. Oh, they obviously gave Mika like a little... They gave him some vitamin injection. They gave him whatever they need to do at when they're born,
in it. They gave him a smack on the bum and kicked him out the door, basically.
Anyway, in the end we decided to go home, didn't we, Sid?
Did you tell them?
Wait, no, I'll finish my version, then you can like add in the bits that you remember. Yeah. So anyway, what I remember next is we get Mika dressed and we put him in the car seat and we pretty much go home at like 3:30 in the morning, and I text my mum a picture, a selfie of me, Sid and Mika going, "Done dealio, mate." And then I just said to her on the way home, and we came in at 4 AM. And she was like, it's like you went to the supermarket and came back with a baby.
Yeah.
And Hannah was awake at 4 AM. She'd woken up and she was down here with my mum. So she met her baby brother straight away. It was really surreal, and it's so mad. I half wish I stayed in the hospital because it would mean I would have caught up on sleep. So like, I'd just given birth, but I came home and had to pretty much calm Hannah down and get her to sleep. She didn't sleep till like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, no, it was
and then
crazy,
and we just slept down here in the living room. It was mad. So we never got a chance to like catch up on sleep or anything. But the survival was a lot easier to survive in terms of like, because my delivery was easier. Like, it was better than with Hannah, I suppose. And I guess I'm stronger than I was with Hannah because I'm used to like picking up a toddler and dealing with a pram and all that stuff, you know. Because when Hannah was born, I remember thinking, my arms are aching carrying a newborn around. Obviously now I'm like, he's light as a feather, bro. By the way, he came out 8.6 pounds. Hannah was only 7.2. So I was carrying a way bigger baby as well. Alhamdulillah. Should we give him a huppa?
By the way, there's a cat here, obviously.
Mika, Mika, Mika. Basically, that's what happened, didn't it? So that's what happened. By the way, I know I'm calling him Mika now, but don't be surprised if there is a name change. There might be a name change. We're not sure yet. But more on that in my next vlog, okay? There's details of that in my next vlog.
All I know is...
We're thinking of doing a double barrel to give ourselves and him an option. I'll just put that out there. Oh yes, he is very hungry. He's doing that thing. No, let me give you a dummy while you wait. Here you go, dummy. Have a dummy while you wait, love. Don't be sucking on your fingers. Your nails are still a bit sharp, like, alright? Mika, oh Mika,
Hannah literally calls him baby brother.
She's like, baby brother.
She's literally like baby brother.
Thing is, I don't know where she got her London accent from. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
From London?
Yeah, but
maybe she got a London accent.
That dummy just flew up. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
So...
Bismillah. Alright, you tell them the stuff that you remember in the hospital then, Sid.
All I remember is, I don't know what it is with Dina and gas and air, but the minute she starts with the gas and air, it's the most hilarious thing ever. She says some borderline outlandish shit.
You just smiled.
You said, what did you say?
Well, I don't remember because I was high. I was very high.
What was it that you said? I think you said something and the midwife went, oh, she started with her gibberish.
Oh, I remember you told me this. So basically, I was talking to Sid. So I was high going through contractions. I turned to Sid and I was like, you don't let me sleep next to Hannah.
Yeah, that's what you said. You don't let me sleep next to Hannah.
And I remember going to Sid, do you think Hannah will be okay? Do you think she's still asleep? Do you think she's alright?
Yeah, and, like, then the midwife was like, but she started with her gibberish.
And then I remember thinking, oh shit, the midwife's gonna think Hannah is like some side chick of Sid's.
And then Hannah turned around, and then Dina turned around and goes, Hannah is our daughter.
Yeah, I turned around, I was like, she's our daughter. She's not cheating on me.
And then we just looked at each other and we're like, what just happened?
What, you in the middle?
Yeah.
Because I remember just thinking, she's gonna think Sid's like, you know, having an affair or something, and I want to join in. That's what it sounded like.
Do you know what? It's mad. It is really, really mad. And I'm gonna sound really cheesy here, but it's mad how good midwives are.
Oh man, midwives are underrated, I tell you that.
Underrated to the max.
So anyway, alhamdulillah, a very, very, very positive birth story. And then afterwards, the healing kind of afterwards. So basically there was no sleep, which was shit. But
there still is no sleep.
I know, but we're kind of more used to it, right? But the healing downstairs was chill. I think I had a poo like 5 hours later.
Oh, nice.
Alhamdulillah.
Going into detail like that. Wow.
So the stitches were like quite sore, but not like with Hannah. Like when I had Hannah, I couldn't sit down. bruh. I was like, I can't sit down. People tell me, rest, sit down. I was like, I can't. I can't, it hurts, but I would rather stand up. There's 2 kids all of a sudden, and like your bigger kid doesn't give you a break. Like, she doesn't get it.
Oh, it's crazy. We had a conversation yesterday. We were just like, and it was in the pantry, the conversation, like this.
We always hide in the pantry to have conversations.
Yeah, and we were just like, he was resting and Hannah was out in the garden. And
we were just like,
and I just goes to Dina.
No, I said it first.
No, I said it to you, and then you were like, I was just about to say that.
No, I said it to you. You came to hug me.
No, I goes to you. Do you know what makes me crazy? When they both scream at the same time.
Yeah, but before that, you came to hug me.
At the same time.
So I was stress eating. I was eating a lollipop and some biscuits in the pantry, hiding from Hannah so she doesn't have it. And he came to hug me, and I was just like, it just doesn't stop, does it, Sid? It never stops.
Yeah, and I go towards you.
And he was like, yeah, bro, it never stops.
When it's both of them at the same time, and they're both doing the same thing, either crying, whining at the same time.
Even just like, talking, even just
wow. It's literally kill me now. Like, kill me now, bro.
It's so hard. Oh man, it's so hard, and it really never stops. But alhamdulillah, obviously. But obviously, we know it gets better because it did with Hannah.
Do you know what's crazy? Like, I'm realizing how, mashallah, of a easy baby Hannah was. She was just easy, man. I
keep telling him, no, Sid.
She was just easy.
I keep saying to him, no, Sid, you're not realizing that.
No, she was so easy compared to him. She was so
Watch my vlogs, bro.
Bro, she was so easy compared to him. He's about 10 octaves louder than her.
Okay, he's louder.
Yeah.
But Sid doesn't remember the colic with Hannah. I remember the colic with Hannah.
Okay, fine, colic with Hannah.
Because I was breastfeeding, so he couldn't do the feeds.
Yeah, fine.
But now he's feeling it, and he's like, what is this?
But the movement, man. He just moves.
Oh, he's a much more
He just moves
active.
everywhere.
Yeah, he's very active, mashallah.
He breaks out of a swaddle.
He breaks out of a swaddle.
Every time.
Guys,
and it's tight. It's like mega tight.
I can't swaddle him because I feel like he's not letting me move his arms. Like, I can't swaddle him.
But I swaddle him like really tight, and he just 5 minutes later he's got his arms out, and I'm just like, how the heck did you just do that, bro? Yes. You Houdini.
He's Houdini.
He's Houdini.
Oh my god, going from 1 child to 2. Wow.
It's not chilling when you have a boy and he needs to get circumcised.
Oh, that's just awful.
I thought it wouldn't be a thing, because he's like, every guy I know, every Muslim I know, or non-Muslim even sometimes, have been snipped, and it's not a big deal. But it's flipping horrific, mate.
It's horrific for the parents. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Where's the thing? Thanks, babe.
Did you tell him about?
I mean, in the vlog I talked about circumcision, but he's had that.
I feel like you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I hate it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on my next video. Don't know when it will be. It'll probably be a vlog though, because they're the easiest to do right now. And Mika's just done a poo.
No, he hasn't.
Bye.
Bye.